Welcome to the first video in our 10-part series on the GMAT mini course. In this mini course, what I cover is in each of the 10 videos, I cover the 10 things that I did in order to move my score from 650 to 750 on the GMAT. And I'll share with you my worksheets. Okay. So in these worksheets, I have systematized my entire preparation process so that you can follow the same plan and produce the same results. Now let's get started. First, let me show you how to access the worksheet. So how you can access the worksheet is I have pinned the link to the worksheet in the comments. After watching this video, you can go to that link and you can download the worksheets that I'm going to show you in this video. Not only that, it's a zip file in which I have put all the worksheets that you need for this 10-part mini series, and you can download all of them in one shot. And in the future videos, I'll be using the same worksheet. So please download it so that you can follow it for the 10-part series. Okay. This video is all about analyzing your strength. In my masterclass, I had told you in order to maximize your score, you should focus on your weakness and not on your strength. And if you haven't watched that video, please go and watch that video. In that video, what I do is I cover why you should do these things and what exactly these things are. In this video series, I'm going to focus on how to do it using the worksheets and the templates that I have created for you. If you want to understand the what and the why part, then go to the masterclass. I have covered this and the other 10 steps there in detail. Now, let's look at how to analyze your strength. To analyze your strength, the first thing that I'd point you to is the level of details worksheet. The level of details worksheet, what it does is it shows you or it defines certain terms that I'm going to use for the rest of the video series. So the first thing is section. Okay. Now after section, you have the question format, and after the question format you have the topics, and after that you have the subtopics. Okay, so let's take quantitative aptitude as an example. If you take the quantitative reasoning as a section of the exam, then the section would be quantitative reasoning, then the question format would be problem solving or data sufficiency, and the topics and subtopics are too numerous, but don't worry. As a part of the worksheet, I have created a full list of topics and subtopics. Okay, let me just show you. Here we go. Okay, so we have a full list of topics and subtopics. So quantitative reasoning, topic arithmetic, and under arithmetic you have properties of integers, fractions, decimals, real numbers, ratio, proportions, percents, etc. So I have listed all the topics and the subtopics for the corresponding topics. In some cases, like for example, if you go to integrated reasoning, in integrated reasoning you just have the question format. So I have stated them as the topics because in integrated reasoning there's no division between topic and subtopic. It's just question formats. And for analytical writing assessment, there's just one question that you have to answer within 30 minutes. It's an essay question, and that's analysis of an argument. So all this is there in this sheet. The things like, for example, the level of detail as well as the topic list. Now these are support items. Okay. The main item that we are interested in is the GMAT strength analysis form. You can print this form and use the printed version to follow along, or you can use the editable version, that is the Word document that you will download. Or what you can do is you can recreate the same thing in your notebook in your own format, keeping the essence of what I cover here the same. Let's start. In the strength analysis form, you first begin by filling out the date. This date is to keep track of, for example, if today's date is 31st January, I do a strength analysis on 31st January, and 1 month later, end of February, when I do a strength analysis on the same section, I need to know when was the last time I conducted my strength analysis, and many times, unless there is a specific date column mentioned, people will generally forget to write the date. That's why where you begin is with the date. The next thing is you fill out the section. Are you doing a quantitative reasoning strength analysis, verbal reasoning strength analysis, integrated reasoning strength analysis, or analytical writing assessment strength analysis? After you do that, if you are diving one level deeper, if you're diving in one level deeper into the detail, then you can write the topic. For example, it can be quantitative aptitude, or it can be, for example, arithmetic or probability. So write the topic. Then the question format. So the question format: sentence correction, problem solving, data sufficiency. You don't need to fill all of these, but fill enough of these so that you can remember what this strength analysis is about. The next part is the difficulty level. Now, when it comes to the difficulty level, one thing that is very helpful, I'm following the official guide 2021, and I hope that they keep this part of the official guide ongoing for the future. The part that I'm talking about is, if you open the official guide, there's a part of the official guide that says official guide question index. In the 2021 edition, it happens to be page number 908. And if I go there, here's what I found. There we go. Right. So if I go to the official guide, what I find there is they have categorized the questions in the official guide according to the difficulty level, according to the topic and the subtopic. And within these subtopics, there are also subdivisions like this. So they have created a very comprehensive index of the problems in the official guide. Okay. So the difficulty level is the difficulty level that you choose here. It can be easy, or it can be medium, or it can be hard. I'll be talking about an additional difficulty level, which is advanced, which is not there as a part of the official guide. Advanced questions are available as a separate book. So when I talk about advanced questions, it's from this book. Okay, so we filled the top level or the first section of the strength analysis form. Now the next section. Depending on whether you chose a section, a topic, or a question format, what you have to do is you have to select 10 questions. When you're doing strength analysis, 10 is a good number to work with. So which are the 10 questions that you select? For example, let's say that I'm doing a strength analysis in the quantitative reasoning section, and the topic is arithmetic, and the question format is problem solving, and the difficulty is easy. Let me take that part of the official guide. Okay, so for problem solving, easy difficulty level, arithmetic topic, these are the questions that are available. Applied problems, applied problems, applied problems, then estimation, exponents, fractions, inequalities, interpretation, etc. And they've labeled the question numbers 4, 5, 9, 23, 33, 35, 45, etc. What I do is I just select 10 questions. For me to get enough variety, what I do is from the first line, applied problems, I select question number 4. Then from applied problems, I select question number 54, then 14, then 79, then 28, 41, 89, 96, etc. Okay. Make sure that when you pick those 10 topics, don't pick it from the same line. Go down and pick the first question in each line. That will allow me to fill the second line here, which is the question number. So fill in the questions, fill in the question number. After that, what you do is you just work out the problems, and when you're conducting the strength analysis, remember that it is not a timed lesson. You don't have to worry about the time limit. Once you finish answering, check your answers in the answer key. If you have answered the question correctly, give yourself 1 point. So I would write that here. So correct, give yourself 1 point. In case you couldn't answer the question because you don't know what the topic is, you don't know what the formulas involved are, then just skip it. And if you have skipped a question, then don't award yourself any point for that. And if you have attempted a question but you answered it incorrectly, then again there's no negative marking, just give yourself no credits. Write the score for each of these questions in the next section provided. Then what you do is you just tally up how many correct responses and how many incorrect responses. Count the number of questions that you skipped also as an incorrect response, and then write your total score. Once you write your total score, I've given a table here which says scope of improvement. So scope of improvement has been categorized into 3 parts, which is minor, moderate, and major. So what the table says is, if your score is between 0 and 5, then the scope of improvement is major. Major scope of improvement means you can improve a lot in that particular area. If your score is between 6, from 6 to 8, then your scope of improvement is moderate, which means it's not like there's a huge improvement that you can make, but some improvement is still possible. If you score between 9 and 10, 9 or 10, then there's a minor scope of improvement. Minor scope of improvement is maybe there are a few things that you can learn in this topic, but overall you have that topic covered. And you write your result in the next section, which is your score followed by your scope of improvement. Now the next part, when I talk about selecting the difficulty level, I have also mentioned what these difficulty levels mean in terms of your target score range. When I talk about easy difficulty level, these are questions that appear in the 460 to 550 range. And when I talk about the medium difficulty level, these are questions that appear in the 550 to 640 range. Hard questions appear from 640 to 730, and advanced questions appear beyond 730 and from 730 to 800. These are the typical ways in which you can interpret the difficulty level and the final target score. All that is there in this part. Now, what does this scope of improvement really mean? What scope of improvement means is, if you have a major scope of improvement, what it means is you are not familiar with the concepts, the knowledge and the skills involved in that particular subject. So you probably have to watch some on-demand videos in order to improve your performance. Moderate means, yes, there are some things that you still need to know. And in order to advance in that area, what you need to do is do untimed practice. Okay, so you can go directly to problem solving. And minor means you are ready to move on to the strength analysis of some other topic. Okay, like I mentioned in the masterclass video, in GMAT, if you want to improve your performance within a short period of time, you must focus on your weakness. If something is already a strength, then you don't really need to focus on it. You can move on to something else. So work on an area only if there is a scope of improvement. Otherwise, skip, do the strength analysis on another section and check what is the scope of improvement there. If you have major to moderate scope of improvement, then start preparing or improving your skills in that area. The next video that we'll be talking about is about going analog. The video is more or less to do with how to structure your practice sessions so that you get the maximum benefit out of it. I'll see you in that video. Take care. And again, the worksheets that I talked about, they are available in the pinned comment section. So please make sure that you download this before you go on to the next video. Take care.